Monday Night Lights, Monday Night Lights, Monday Night Lights. Let's talk about what's been going on at Viking Ice Arena. You've never seen a league so exciting and tough and fast. It simply must be discussed on an equally exciting and tough podcast. What's it called? Monday Night Lights. Yeah. Monday Night Lights. Monday Night Lights. What's been going down on the ice? Who are the leaders? Who are the failures? The Ducks, the Tigers, the Nordiques, the Whalers, the Seals, the Americans, the North Stars. Who's gonna stall? Who will go far and earn the keg? Who's gonna earn the keg? We'll find out in time. Give us a holler on the whoop line.
The Monday Night Lights podcast is back. Brian Piercy along with Andrew Hedis and Troy Otto. How you boys doing today?
I'm feeling fresh. I'm feeling funky. It's glad to be back in this comfy gray chair.
Good to be back at the well. I had no idea about our little special guest, the mini boner. Dave P is here in the
It
house.
just brings it up the first topic.
Welcome to the well.
Thanks.
How you doing
Happy to be
today?
here. Great.
Get a little bit closer to the microphone.
I'm happy to be here.
That's better.
Great.
Let's keep that up now.
It's
So-
not his first rodeo. He does this on Twitch.
I was
too.
going to say, you think this Twitch
professional.
superstar would have this
My
microphone
mics are a
thing
little
figured
better.
out?
I don't know.
Damn, shots fired.
So real quick, as always, give us a voicemail, 714-75-WHOOP. Podcast at MNLHL.com is the email address. Follow us on Twitch and subscribe. I know some of you guys did that first month. Your second month is probably going on. Anybody who else hasn't done it, Dave P's a 2-month guy. We appreciate his love.
2 months.
I think I did the calendar invite, but I don't think I've done it. So thanks for the reminder.
I've dropped the ball as well. I need to do it again.
Get on it, people. As always, podcasts available at, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher. We have an RSS feed if you want to throw it in your own app. Give us a rating and a review. As obviously, we have a fourth mic now. This is kind of a trial and error thing. I don't know if the sound's perfect with that. We're going to be working on this as we go along, though. So one last thing is if you have any rumors or anything, dirt, send them my way. But let's start with some news. Possible sad news at the moment is Joey B, as of last night, said he accepted a job in Arizona.
It's horrible.
What's your thoughts on this, boys?
It's bad news. Bad for the Worms. Bad for the league. But good for him if he's doing better. Then got to take a good job opportunity. Sucks to lose him though.
The only good thing it is it's good for his sticks. So
Oh, it is good for his sticks. Yeah.
He said
His
he
wallet.
said he did some research. There's a lot of hockey around that area. Surprisingly, maybe the Coyotes are doing some good there. So maybe the sticks aren't safe.
ooh, maybe if the sticks aren't safe, then it's just an all-around bad con for the league. It's like 5 negative cons.
I will say, if I remember, Arizona, Texas, a little bit different, but like Jeremy Cole, Tex, like he claimed that he was like, if I remember correctly, like he was one of the better players down in Texas because like the leagues just aren't as good. So Brennan might be like go down there and be the
just
proctor
a
of
stud.
Arizona.
Oh, he'd be-
Life is good.
Breathe the Canadianness with him. He's like, you guys have Molson's down here.
Yeah.
Molson's on bat for everybody. All of a sudden, he's just king hockey player down there. So I did reach out to the Nordiques management about this potential, and I did receive a statement from them. Let me read this. The Diques are confident they'll be able to sign our 7th-round draft pick before the start of the season. Our camp has been talking with their camp, and we plan to make a signing before he settles on retiring. So, I mean, it's 7th-round money. Who knows? I mean, it sounds like kind of a whitewash BS statement there, but, you got to be political.
I will say I can't share too much because there is the attorney-client privilege, but I think there's a little something there because Joey Brennan, this is a true story, sent me his offer letter from the new Arizona entity and asked me to review it to see the ramifications if he backed out from the acceptance letter. So sounds like maybe the Nordiques are making a run at him.
I also reached out to the league in general, MNL, and I got this comment. They said essentially about if he did leave, what would happen. And their response was, we're in the exploratory phases, but indications from the Brennan camp are to hold off. The league is working closely with the Diques to find a replacement that will be close in skill. So, as I'd say the commissioner, if he was to leave, is there any plan as of right now?
There's always a plan, we have, someone in this studio that's put forth a potential replacement. But just like the problem with this being after the draft is it's not quite that easy. Any candidate's going to have to be vetted. We don't want anyone to have a competitive advantage or disadvantage. There's a history for this going back to, season 1. The Whalers are horrible. You got Brian Walters whining about like parody and bullshit, and then Old Man Swantek goes out, and then they get J-Flo.
They get the best goalie on the planet.
So that's happened.
I believe it's a rule. It's called the J-Flow rule.
Yeah.
And I believe it's an established rule, correct, Commissioner?
Yeah. So, I mean, it would be interesting. So if it comes to that, I think we'll kind of open it up to a lot of options and just try to find the best fit competitively.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully it doesn't. I think, Joey's probably my favorite defensive partner I have. We played all last year together on the Seals and all last year together on WBW. So we know each other's styles. We're buddies. I'd like to see him stay as well. Hedis, I do believe I assume you're the person that was talked about by Troy as a potential throwing out candidates.
Yeah, there might be someone I know that might fit or fill the gap for the league, but I don't really want to start throwing out names and fit in slots until it's for sure that Brennan leaves. So
my sources said it was you and you were trying to find a goalie replacement.
For me?
You were throwing your name out there for that
would be
defensive slot and for you to find a goalie replacement there.
I didn't
we
even think
go.
about that. That's genius. I should totally do that.
The interesting part about that is I don't want to lose my goalie, obviously, but that would actually be that'd be a comparable sub in the in the sense. I mean, Brennan skates better than Hedis.
100%.
But Hedis is has like the Troy Otto IQ, bad skating, but that would actually be an interesting trade-off. I'm
Not
curious.
gonna chuck pucks up
I'm
the
curious if the Ducks would. I'm curious if the Diques would jump on that or not.
Oh, me and Panny from the top of the blue line, the Panny bomb, and the that is clapper wide of the net.
They'd do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I mean, that would be interesting. Again, we hope it doesn't come to that, but that would be interesting.
Yeah, and then kind of lastly in this story, which kind of we've already talked about, it sounds like there's some hope, is Brennan in the WBW room today said, if you haven't replaced me yet, I might not be leaving it after all. So there's hope. I don't know if it's because of the contract. I don't know if maybe he went to give his notice and he was offered a raise. Either way, I'm just glad to hear there's hope that he might be staying.
Yeah, I mean, on the Labatt Blue party deck last night, he indicated that he had already signed, and then someone so he had already signed the contract and already resigned, and they had made it seem like if he wanted to come back, the door would be open, blah blah blah. But really, you could just sense last night that Joe was like, he had made this decision, and you make a decision like that, that's a big decision. This is serious, like I'm not joking around. This is like serious, and you should be like pretty pumped about it. And you could just sense that he was like, fuck, he wasn't even, he was sad.
Yeah.
And I think he kind of thought, and I wasn't, we all want the best for Joe, whatever, and it might be one decision might be right for one person and not for the other. But having 4 kids, he's got 1 kid, and it's very difficult when you have children to be isolated from your family. So I don't know if that weighed into it a little bit, but we'll see. So I sensed he was kind of wavering last night, and so maybe he just slept on it, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's really hard to say. Like, he's married, he's got a kid, so I think it would make it move a little bit easier. But I know back probably late 20s, I interviewed for a couple jobs. I had a couple offers outside of state. And then it was just at the end of the day, I was just like, I know myself too well. I'm not a social butterfly. I would probably just sit in an apartment or a house all day. I'm not going out to the bar and being like, hey, group of guys, like, let's start hanging out, or people at work, let's become friends.
There's only a handful of people that can, if you're not gay, but you're a man and you can randomly go to a bar and engage other men, and that's Whoop. Whoop can go to the bar. He'll strike up if you ask Whoop to hit on a girl, no chance. I mean, it's the most awkward. He can't even do it. But if you put Whoop in a bar and there's 15 dudes over there, he'd be like, "Hey, I'm the Whoop," and he'd be best pals with them. So to your point,
Let me buy you a round. You guys like golden tea? I like golden tea. Let's play.
There you go.
But looks like we do have Joey as a live viewer, and he claims as of right now, it looks like the Nordiques and him are negotiating a contract to fly him back every Monday to be on the ice.
That could be a good solution because the Arizona Federated Hockey League down there, they don't have a lot of money for the extra cost to fly people, the extra equipment costs, things like that, insurance. So that might be a good fix.
My advice would be is to hold out for that private jet back and forth. Don't settle for first class. Don't settle for business class. Private jet all the way. We know Panny's big money. You know, he can afford it.
I was just going through the roster on the Nordiques. I'm like, who's got, like, Pete? He's cheap as shit. He won't even, pay for WBW, so he's not chipping in for the contract.
Bring a case of beer.
Andy Fountain's probably a little young. Italian standing Gio, he'd probably chip in his fair share, but it's going to have to be
big bucks from the photos, big bucks from the side gigs.
That's true. So then who else, Sukas isn't chipping in. It's going to have to be Panny and Cone that cough it up. Oh, but Drago's late there. Drago's got big bucks. He'd probably chip in.
Hey, Justin Wright, he might have some of that StockX money laying around. You never know.
That's true.
Let's move on real quick. Other news is shop.mnlhl.com is up. So if you want some official MNL gear, head over to the store. We got a bunch of stuff. We got some hoodies. We got a bunch of different kinds of T-shirts. We got some softball type or jersey shirts.
Christmas is coming early. Early. I didn't realize it was up and running right now.
Sukas has a hoodie already, and it was quite fly.
I'm about to buy like 5 shirts. Let's go.
I was a little upset I didn't see the fanny packs up there yet, but I have
tracksuits.
No tracksuits. I looked for those too. I would say Panny's probably running it. So if there's anything you don't see, maybe reach out to him if you want it. Be available, maybe not. Who knows? I did want to throw in before any other comments. 15% off any order if you order before September 4th. So check it out. Try to get those orders in if you do want to buy some stuff. Save yourself a little bit of money.
Cross management here. You brought up Justin Wright, StockX, Dave P, Ferrari shoes. Maybe you get a little MNL Lamborghini shoes on that platform. Maybe.
Have to.
Maybe.
Do we have any information on promo codes? Claus bought something last night, and he was asking around if we have.
Well, that's where that 15% is. I think if you click there, it actually gives you a code right on the website. Like I said, according to the website, that is good till September 4th. Now, I don't know how this site's working. I don't know if it's throwing us back any money to help with dues. I don't know if we just essentially cut out any possible profit. Those type of stores give you the option. I think you can set them. Either way, when I looked at them, they all looked pretty reasonable in price. No one's getting ripped off on this merchandise. And even if we did get a small kickback and we could lower dues a little bit, it would be nice for the league.
Yeah, Panny sent me the store link, and initially the prices were a little bit high, and I made some comments. So it's possible that maybe he passed on the kickback in order to lower the prices. I will say, I don't know if you guys have shopped around. Like, the selection is quite good as far as there's a lot of different products. I do think for our, Manny got this MNL logo. It's nice. But
it's a big scam.
A big scam. But I think we need to have an alternate MNL logo now to kind of, for branding purposes, because it's the same logo on 87 different items. We got to spice it up a little bit.
I'm looking for the MNL jersey where, we can't do obviously the Whalers or the NHL logos for those jerseys, but we could just do MNL logos, put your name on the back with the number, get yourself a Dave P over here, a vape on the back.
Oh, vape D in the back. I would sport that. Honestly, I'd rock it on the weekend occasionally.
Maybe get laid too.
Maybe some tight V-neck shirt for the girls, for the wives and the girlfriends to wear the
for
jersey
peso.
of your favorite star.
For the Hazel Park Bowling Alley.
Yeah, something like that. Get on that, Panny.
Also, super quick, looks like Joey Brennan gave us a subscription with his Twitch Prime, so we'd like to say thank you over there.
Cha-ching.
But I think let's move on to the main event of the night. Preseason games, last of the week. Our first game of the night was the Whalers versus the North Stars. The Whalers went 4-2, 4-1, whatever you want to call it.
3-1.
Super quick. Let me just go through. The Whalers were a full squad. The North Stars were a full squad as the Whalers were missing Turnbull, Weaver, and Ike. We brought in Dougie Fresh, Ryan Allen, and Pellet on that side of things. Let's go over to our guest, Dave P. Why don't you start off with a review of the game?
The only thing I really remember is scoring on Hedis, and that was with 3 minutes left. So
138.
no, it was a good game. It was they held us off most of the game, and then we cracked through. Pellet is just to right away get off subject. Pellet is good. For steals.
I want Dave to have full, talking, to the
Full autonomy.
I'm a large believer into the victor goes the spoil. So Dave is not often a victor, so I want him to have I want him to have his full. I don't want to cut him
I've
off
won
at all.
as many championships as Troy Otto.
I will say, but but what I meant is that when I got to my turn, the first thing I was going to mention, I think overall the subs were like fair because like I can't remember the other ones, like they were fine. But Pellet is just fucking good, and I think he subbed. Did he sub for Weaver?
He subbed for Ite.
Ite. Okay.
Now Ite,
fair, but
everybody was high on Ite during the preseason or before the draft.
Yeah.
He hasn't skated with us in the preseason, so it's hard for me to realistically say if he's a sub up or a sub down. I actually think, no offense, but I think Ryan Allen and Doug were both sub down slight in those two areas. Yeah. My personal opinion, I think
we didn't lose because of sub up. I mean, like if I feel like like the sub ups, like the Ducks have subbed up at every single spot last week. I don't think the Whalers subbed up. I don't mean that, but I agree with Dave. Just as an observation, this Pellet is a fucking. He's not like doesn't have superstar, but his motor is just like he's fucking good.
Yeah,
he looked good out there for sure. One thing I do want to point out is I'll ask you a question. We had a scouting report on Mr. Andrew Hedis. What was one of the issues in his scouting report?
Well, can we let Dave?
No. Let's answer the question.
My eyes are rolling in the back of my head right now. So next time I won't take a second game sub, and then I won't bring extra beer, and I'll just say F it all, and I'll just show up on time. I was on time today. No rain today.
Oh, you were early today. I appreciate that. But I'll answer the question. One of his
I'm on cross-examination here for Mr. Piercy. I will. So Mr. Piercy pointed out that Hedis, even sometimes he shows up on time, but is still late on the ice. But sometimes he's just late on the ice. So and that happened. I will say on a humorous note, like Hedis actually had like no fucking clue how late he was because. The start time, I put 3 minutes. I already told him this. But
I saw you add more time.
It was like there were 3 minutes on the warm-up clock. Then we're down to a minute. I peek my head in like Hedis hasn't even like gotten a skate on.
I got one leg pad on.
The first time I checked in, he had nothing on. So then I go out, run out, put the warm-up clock. I will say that I checked to make sure that the curfew clock was not going. I wasn't going to. If the curfew clock was going, I would have started the game. But there was no curfew clock. So then I added the warm-ups to like 4 minutes. Then it's down to like a minute. And then I go in there. At that point, he has one pad on. So my second time, I'm like, we're fucked. So then I delay. And then I went to Serta and Trent. I'm like, it's up to you guys. I mean, you want to start with 6-on-5? We'll go 6-on-5. So
we just didn't shoot. I
think, it's just no fun. The reality, all jokes aside, is it fucking sucks when there's not a goalie.
Totally.
Because it's like you're on offense, you don't want to be like the douchebag. Besides Peso, you don't want to be the douchebag that shoots on an empty net. So it's like the flow of the game sucks. So everyone was happy. When Hedis did get around to gracing us with his presence.
But from talking about that,
like royalty.
From bringing that up in scouting reports and Hedis kind of being mad about that, I just had to throw it out there to bust your balls a little bit.
Oh yeah, well, my balls are sorely bruised. That's a good jib.
But so I think did Peso have 2 last night? Trent have 1 and Dave P have 1. Who were our goal scorers?
I think Peso had 1.
Peso had 1.
The first one was like the Trent thing that trickled through, right?
That went in because I lifted up my pad and it went off of Martin's leg in the net. He says underneath my leg.
Yeah,
so.
I'm not disputing.
No, I understand. No.
So that was the first one. What was who got their second?
Peso breakaway.
Trent got a rebound on something, and then Dave P got the last goal.
Yeah.
Peso celebration, big time.
And then on your side of things, so it was a tight game. Let's face facts there. The majority of the game, we got up early with that one. You guys came back with who scored your guys' first one?
Judge had a nice goal.
Oh that was a nice wraparound because I barely cut him off not to get to that post, and I was actually like, oh, thank God he was fast there, and all of a sudden he's just zipped around and in there. I was like, what the fuck?
Higher up in the slot.
Whalers definitely got the better of things, but in addition to that, like in the first period, we had some skirmish in front of the net where we had an empty net and we had like 3
that was
shots on
crazy.
the empty net, and somehow I don't know if it hit Cam, defenseman, skates,
It hit 9 things.
and we
was
like
crazy.
so we had our chances with the way. So in any event, Judge got our first, and then we had like back-to-back breakaways. The first one was Judge, and Cam did like a poke check / leg whip and took out Judge, and then couldn't be more than a minute later, Suits comes in, cuts it hard in the net, and runs into Cam. The puck went in the net, so that's like our kind of disputed goal.
I cross-checked him in the back.
Yeah, I mean, and Peso, it's so funny when, Peso's Peso, of all people, like, he hacks at goalies, but he's going to be the protector of all things. He's like, oh, Suits, that was a douche move. It's like, he fucking took the puck to the net and tried to score, got mauled by 3 defensemen, and then Cam, again, like, it's like, if you're a goalie and you're going to go for the poke check and like put your head in there and do, it's like, what the fuck do you want a forward to do? It's like Cam and or the defenseman took the guy out. I'm not debating the goal.
I did the same thing last week with Cone, and then Cone, like, justifiably, he's like, sat in my stick. He's like, fuck you, you're not getting your stick. So I was like, you know what? And they scored. I was like, you know what? Good job, Trent. You guys got a goal.
And I'm not justifying, I don't give a shit if it's a goal or not goal, but I'm just saying, like, to the point where they're like upset with Suits. It's like, what the fuck do you want the guy to do? It's like,
Well,
you
it's just
initiated
it's
the
the
contact.
culture of the game. Anytime you come in and touch the goal, it doesn't matter whose fault, when, where, you're gonna get touched for it.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Yeah,
how
fair
it
cop.
goes.
That's kind of true. Like, you could get cross-checked in your own goalie, and it's like, well, I'm
Sue's faults or not. If he runs Cam, I'm
Exactly.
gonna probably cross-check him.
Exactly. But then you just move on. It's like, you go to the net, you Suits didn't come up complaining. That's my point.
Yeah.
It's like, Suits went to the net hard. You mugged him. You gave him a shit. And did Suits say shit?
He didn't even turn around. I was
Exactly.
like, okay,
He didn't
cool.
say shit.
I
So
thought he was
it's
gonna
like,
kick my ass. I don't even really know the guy. I was like, oh, I might have pushed a little far there.
pulls out his scalpel. That's funny.
I think that's kind of hockey etiquette. It's like, if you go hard at the goalie, then the defenseman's kind of entitled to one kind of like decent. No, he's not. You shouldn't go to the head or something stupid.
No,
but you
I just
take a little
came up.
shot and then you kind of go your way. And that's what happened. But then afterwards, Peso was like, "Ooh, Suits is of all the morality police." Peso.
Yeah. Peso, for his credit, his breakaway goal I did think was very pretty.
That was cool.
He really celebrated it, to be fair. But the Whalers like to party. We like to have a good time. Just high
We got a
energy group
loose
of
locker
guys.
room. We're having fun out here. It's not our fault.
How does you had commented on his breakaway
Honestly,
goal.
I probably should have stopped it. I mean, sure, breakaways are 50-50, right? Generally in the game sense. So if you look at advanced statistics, like in an actual game, like NHL, if you have a breakaway, it's almost 50% of the time. Penalty shot shootouts are slightly different. So what in that game state, like, he came down from like a 70 or 80 degree angle, kind of like from like the right hash mark, and then cut across. And I was just used to the night before where I was like, he came in with the same exact like body positioning and stick positioning as another guy was shooting at me the night before. And on that guy in particular, I played him like 3 times throughout like a month, and all I did was poke check that guy. So I had like a muscle memory. I'm like, oh, like Peso had the same positioning as he did and the same like stick bend and everything. So I was like, I'm gonna poke check him, and it was a half-ass poke check, and then he just beat me. So it was a good goal on Peso, but like by the same token, I kicked myself a little. I'm Dylaning it right now. I'm gonna Dylan it. I probably should have stopped the shot, even though it's a breakaway.
So we have 2 Whalers. We have 2 North Stars. Scouting report on the Whalers after playing them in one scrimmage.
Yeah, and again, all the caveats as far as subs, like Old Man Ite and Pellet will be interesting. Like, I think Old Man Ite's a good player. There's no way he might even have do some things better than Pellet, but there's no way he provides the energy like because that Pellet did. So that's interesting. But the Whalers are going to be good, because they have depth. So they're going to have 2 good lines. And again, Weaver Allen, it's like, it's not like they subbed down. Like, Weaver is more talented than Ryan Allen, but Ryan Allen, is going to stay at home a little bit more than like Weaver can do some dumb shit. He can do some good shit, but he can do some dumb shit. But
Did you watch that game?
Yeah.
I'm just saying Weaver is his own little deal. The Whalers are going to be good. I put out my power rankings afterwards. Again, the Tigers I can't even rank, so that's neither here nor there. So, and I've also texted with Dave P because we text every day. So, I definitely think the Whalers are
About my boner.
Did your wives know that you guys text?
Yeah, a little bit. Who knows? But I definitely think the Whalers are a contender. I mean, I think the Seals. My top 4 were Seals, Whalers, Americans, and Tigers, just because until they prove me otherwise.
who
But
knows?
the Whalers are going to be good. I don't think that they're like some invincible. It's like Serta, for as good as he is, can go through scoring droughts. Dave P can go through scoring droughts. But they have a lot of scoring options between Trent and Peso. So and they don't have any glaring weaknesses. So they're going to be good, no question about it.
Yeah, I think.
But I don't think there's some unbeatable super team. They can be
No,
like
yeah.
we switched lines every fucking period, and we're just a complete disaster. And it was still like we have Ty playing defense, which we can talk about that later. But it's like, so I think the Whalers are good, but I don't think you should just hand them the keg yet.
The biggest thing I notice about your guys' Whalers team is you guys have a lot of speed. That and in most sports and most games and things you play, like speed can kill, but if you can find a way to neutralize your guys' speed to a degree, you can probably play on more of a fair field. So
that's one thing about our team with the speed you're talking about is that I think it was more against the Ducks. I think the Ducks, they have a really tough defense where in the zone we were having problems, but we kept getting those opportunities where all of a sudden it got pushed up to Serta or pushed up to Trent, one of our top 4 guys, and they were able to either then have a one-on-one play or a breakaway that just turned into situational problems against the other team. And even if we do have those down like drought periods in games, we can just get those breakouts. Almost, I think the Diques kind of did this a lot, and I feel like a lot of people have actually been trying this. The Diques were trying, or the Ducks were trying it. I feel like you guys were trying it. It's just like launching it up to that superstar and try to give them a 1-on-1 or a 2-on-1 and try to let them beat that weaker defenseman.
Yeah, I will say, I don't think I would be shocked if the Whalers were not in the top half of the league. So I think they're kind of a lock to be a playoff team, and then how good they can go from there. One caveat that I think also we'll talk about on the North Star side, the Whalers have a very familiar team. Everyone on the Whalers, has been in MNL, has been on WBW. So like Serta, Trent, Dave P. Peso, when they get the puck in these little preseason games, they know every single one of their teammates. They know every single one of their opponents. Whereas the North Stars, are the complete opposite. Like Suits is a good fucking player, Judge is a good fucking player, but they have no clue who their teammates are, let alone who they're going against. So I'm hoping, that the North Stars will develop that chemistry, but the Whalers already have it. So I think that's an advantage early in the season.
And I think, I think that's a very good point, and I think that's what the locker room's been fun so far. We're corporate shills, sure, me and Dave P. But Cam's blasting music, half of it I've never heard before.
Me neither.
We might have to work on that playlist a little bit on top of that. But
playing a little metal.
We got Dave P. We got Peso. We got all these guys. They're crazy selves, and it's fun. Actually, Pellet, he was a really nice guy in the locker room as well.
We wanted to trade for him right away.
He was like, "How do I get on this team? I'm sick of Whoop already."
He's like, "Fuck the Seals." That was crazy.
Moving over to the
Trouble
others.
in Seal Town. Find out next.
Moving over to the North Stars, looking at you guys. Solid team all around. I think where you guys could be in trouble, it feels like you guys got now the Ty experience seems to be over at defense.
Experiment, yes. It failed, shocker.
Who didn't see that one coming? But now it feels like you guys got to do essentially like a right wing lock type thing where you have Crunk and you have Ty there. We've also Crunk. We thought we've seen an improvement there. I didn't think he played well last night. I thought with that speed going on in last night's game and just a couple times in the corner, he was playing pretty soft. Like I've touched him a couple times. It felt like he moved 5 feet each time. So I'd like to see his toughness increase a little bit, maybe get a little bit more physical. He's a big guy. Let's see that. But I feel like you guys are always going to have that weakness with one wing on that side of things. But it's hard to complain. Judge, I actually feel like Judge is probably your best player on your team as of right now. And Suits, guy's fast. His hands aren't where I'd want him to be for that round, but he's a hell of a player so far.
Yeah, first of all, with Crunk, it's he's not a superstar, but he's my 10th round pick. So for 10th round, I'm happy with Crunk. Crunk's also super good guy as far as he's one of these guys who's a 10th rounder, but he's got this appetite to get better, and I like that. His kid's playing, he's doing sticks and punks, so I'm not worried about Crunk at all. And you're 100% right. The whole purpose behind the Ty experiment, even though it failed miserably, but it's preseason. But the whole purpose of that was to try to be a team that could have a true star line. But it failed. So yeah, we're going to have 2 good wings and a late rounder, and then 2 good wings and a late rounder. So we're kind of we're definitely locked into that strategy now. Suits has been exactly what I expected. I didn't expect. I knew I wasn't I wasn't taking him because I think, oh my God, this guy's hands down better than Pete. But I thought he would be similar to Pete and that he would skate but also, play good defense, skate hard. But I knew he wasn't a great finisher, so he's been kind of what I wanted or what I expected. If you look back at my options there, it's basically Pete or Suits. It's like, was I going to take Andy Fem there? So it's like I think I'm fine with the Suits pick. Judge has been, I think Judge will only get better when he gets more familiar with the league and what he can do and not do. Diques, it's like I'm just begging the guy to just be a little bit more selfish. He's a good hockey player and he wants to like make the hockey play. Like there's one time he came around and like Crunk's wide open and he just instinctively like fires this rocket pass to Crunk, who was like newsflash, it goes under his stick, and then it's like we're coming back the other way. So, but he'll learn. He'll learn his teammates, and so I'm still expecting big things out of Darren. I'm happy with that. Definitely, I don't know if he's a podcast listener. Graham's been a little bit of a disappointment, slow starter, but Graham's a great guy. He's like, I'm a veteran. I come into camp, out of shape. It's training camp. So I'm still hoping. Cool. Graham's a great guy.
And he's a defenseman by trade too, right?
Exactly. So anyway, so we're we got some new lineups. It's with all the new guys and me changing lineups every period, we look like shit. Like we flat out look like shit. But all that being said, we played about as bad as possible and we lost to a really good team by 2 goals. So it's like I'm not ready to give up on the season yet, but we definitely need to get better. I personally have played like shit. There's room. But it's preseason. We're trying things out. So when the lights come on, we're gonna be okay. And we got a good goalie. Like all kidding aside, we got a good goalie, so he's gonna keep us in games. And so I'm not throwing in the towel just yet.
Hedis is obviously a good goalie. You looked a little fired up or spicy last night. Were you a little pissed off? There was times where the puck came to you, stopped it, and you were trying to fling it up. You were just looking angry a lot of that game.
The only thing I get a little frustrated with is it doesn't really apply to the actual game state. It was an actual game. You can drop the puck, you can do whatever you want. But like in like a drop-in style game, or like even like when we did like the 3-on-3 that one Saturday when Troy generously had everybody come out and we had like the guys skate and everything like that. The whole point of like when you have the puck, if your goalie has the puck behind the net, is to create like an odd man situation because it's just like soccer and other sports. It's just keep away, right? So if Dave P is forechecking me, right, and we have our entire North Stars lineup and we're all in the zone, I was just expecting someone like to break, or I could like draw you in and then give it to somebody else, and then we've sucked one guy in. Now it's a 5-on-4 going up the ice. But a lot of times everybody was just kind of waiting for me to give them the puck. So I would like sit there, look open for a pass, and then like I would just kind of hand it to Marvin or hand it to Troy. Yeah.
Like I said, it just looked like you had a little bit of spiced tea. I didn't know if you were just in one of those moods last night or you're pissed at us on something the Whalers were doing.
The only thing I was laughing about though in my head was the whole peso celebration in preseason. I was just like, he celebrated and then like he came down a couple other times and I stopped him like, where's your goal now, Peso? But he already got 1 goal, so I can't really talk shit myself. I'm not Patty Waugh.
As I put in my instant reaction power rankings, I mean the Peso preseason celebration is just the most Peso thing possible. And that's what makes him so fucking annoying but so lovable at the same time. I mean, like he's our fucking Peso. It's like I'm hard on Peso, but it's like I still love Peso.
I'm right there cheering with
him. But he's just like, it's just so fucking Peso.
Oh, like I said, it's actually been surprisingly like there's been games on WEW where like we're kicking a team's ass and he goes and he pulls one of his goals and celebrates. Like I hate that stuff, but like last night, like it was fun. Other times it's fun. Weird thing for me with playing with Eric is I think in the last 2 preseason games I've had more D-to-D passes to me than I had in the last 7 years of hockey. So that's actually been pretty fun. I think I'm at like a 95% actually not missing the pass rate. So proud of myself there, but having fun with that defensive pairing. But I think we're having a good time so far. What do you, Dave?
Great team. I'm loving the team. We have a lot of fun. Good chemistry everywhere. Me and Peso are natural line mates from WBW and whatnot, and we haven't even needed to play together yet because me and Serta have matching speed. So that's another weapon we have.
Oh, Dave P just put him in put himself in the Serta category. I mean, Serta, me, about the same. Me.
No, just our speed. Serta's obviously worlds better than me, but
so with the tie experiment done at defense. Is there a decision been made, or maybe you want to hold it in? Who's moving to defense?
No, I mean, the tie experiment is just, I don't want to, it's just frustrating because it's like he's my brother, so I just get so frustrated, and then it just fucks the whole team, and it's fucks. So, anyways, I don't want to rehash too much, but it's just frustrating because he's so. I can deal with bad if you try hard, but it's like he's so bad. He doesn't know what he's doing, and then he's so lazy, and he's put on like 30 pounds, and it's like he just like was stationary. But anyways, so that's done. So we're gonna. I put some. I gave a small little fire up speech in the North Stars channel. Not a fire, but just like a hey, we're gonna be okay.
Let's hear it.
The
Go.
boys are Raz. Let's
Yeah.
go for opening night.
Yeah, I mean we're not. So we're gonna put Graham back at D, and I'm trying to put people together with people that they enjoy. So me and Graham are going to play together. We're buddies. So we're going to be one D pairing. Graham's dropping back. And then Marvin and Maff had enjoyed playing together. So they're going to play together on D. Judge requested that he plays with D Kun. So we're going to put those two together on the top line with like a crunk. And then we're going to put, and then Suits, I think Suits will be perfect on the second line because he's going to have a little less ammo. He's going to have Ty and Sikorsky with him. But Suits is definitely, like, he can just skate, and he tends to be doing more by himself anyways. So I'm hoping, now those guys are going to have to develop some chemistry, and we'll see what happens.
I did notice Peso gave Sikorsky a nice welcome to the MNL in one of the corners last night.
We walked
I
into
saw it
our
too. I thought
locker
he was mad.
We walked into our locker room, and there was a moment, there was some silence there because it's like we just got our ass kicked and blah, blah, blah. But then we got past that, and then Sikorsky definitely mentioned, like, who the fuck is this Peso guy? He just fucking levels me in the corner. And so we all were able to rally around
From
Peso.
the bench, I thought he was going to go after him. He
Yeah.
looked pretty mad.
So while we're finishing this up, real quick, top thing or biggest thing that's going to make them win. Each team is going to win the cup or first place.
Biggest superlative of the night. Like what makes the North Stars first or last, or what makes the Whalers first or last based off of last night. For me, I would start with the Whalers first. I'd say for me is the Whalers second D pairing, and can they stay plus the season? If they can stay plus during the season, I think the Whalers will they'd be first. If they end up going minus, then that means that that second line, whoever's in the second D pairing, is taking goals against, and that's not what you want from a line that has two teams and doesn't have a star line, but has rather the talent split between two lines.
What's the question? The Whalers will win the cup if?
The biggest superlative, effectively.
Biggest thing coming out of last night to make them as a winning team.
I mean, they're going to be a winning team. They're going to make the playoffs. To me, it's tough to pinpoint one, but if I had to be one, it's like, will Cam be consistent? Because, like Cam has the ability. He doesn't even need to be great, but he can be great, but he can also be bad. So it's like when you get to the playoffs, anything can happen, and Cam, for as good as he is, he can also, sometimes he gets himself so hyped up and he can have a stinker. So to me, if Cam plays at a high level, he's good enough to win the keg. But it's going to come down to Cam's performance.
DP.
You're doing it for us. You're doing it for us now. So now you guys do the North Stars for us.
Okay, I'm not going Whalers.
No,
here?
we both do the opposite teams. That's the whole point of it.
If you guys can figure out something with your lines, what you're gonna do, Judge on the top with Suits, I think is the best bet. Tie up, Graham back on D. I mean that's pretty much the best bet. But I mean, how many goals can Judge score in a night? He's got to maintain that goal a night kind of production level. I mean, it's got to come from somewhere. He's the one to do it. So I think it all rests on Judge.
I'm going to cheat a little. I'm going to go fast here. First thing is, I think Ty's a big wild card here. I think we saw him the first season. If he's in shape, he's moving, he's got his head on him. He's actually a smart hockey player like the other autos. He's got good hands, but he's kind of lazy and slow right now. Second thing is, I think you need to work on turning Darren into a more physical player. Talking to him last year, when he played in high school growing up, he was a physical, tough player. I think he's now more like, I'm playing in a D league. I don't want to hurt other people. I think you need to actually get him to step that side of his game up.
Yeah. I don't disagree. I mean, we don't have 5 scoring options. So, we're going to need Judge to put the puck in the net. And then I drafted Darren. I thought I got great value in the third round for Darren. And I took him over my all-time favorite North Star, which is Rattler. So he has the ability. And
He's a better player than Rattler.
I know he is. But for us to win the keg, he's going to have to take his game to it. Yeah, I mean, he's going to have to translate him being. He's a very good hockey player. He's a very good skater, and we just need to get the production out of him.
So let's move on to the second game of the night. It was the Tigers 3, the Nordiques 1. Throw out the records here because it was Sub-City. The Tigers, they were missing Matt Taylor, Chris Taylor, Slocum, Shep, Joey Ellis, and Riley. In for those players were Proctor, Bin, Rubel, Hedis, Troy, and Dylan. The Nordiques, they were missing Andy Fem, Drager, Drago, and they brought in Serta, Gibb, and Crunk. Hedis, you were playing in this game. It was boring to watch. It was hard to actually pay attention to this because you knew these teams weren't the teams. What do you think of this game?
To me, the Diques, they had some subs. Don't get me wrong. I felt like their team actually was a good reflection of their team going into the season. Now, whether they were at 100%, gear 6 out of 6 gears, I don't think so. I mean, I think they were kind of playing at like gear 5, right, gear 4, taking it back a little bit. But by the same token, everyone's competitive on the ice. I know Pete's a competitive guy, so even if he's not, even if he's not going full tilt, he's still trying to win a game. I thought the team that the Tigers subbed in, I thought our team, we subbed in, we controlled the puck a little bit more. The Proctor Bin didn't really work in like the spring per se, but the whole point of bringing them out last night was to work the puck around, get Charles Mackey some reps, get Skillman some reps, and just get shots on that. And actually, I felt we controlled the puck maybe like 55, 60, 40, and ended up winning the game off of like my weird little like slap shot thing, and then like even Proctor got a goal. Cone played really good for the Diques to switch the sides there, go back to the Diques. Cone played really good. He robbed Proctor once. I don't know. It was a mixed bag of marbles there, I guess.
Kimmel had a really pretty goal as well. It shows what he can do there when you feed him in that right situation. It was a beauty. But Troy, you are also involved in this game, so let's hear what you thought.
Yeah, the Tigers is just irrelevant. I mean, it was a fun game.
6 subs, 5 regular guys.
I had a lot of fun, despite it being a boring game, according to Piercy. Like,
we should ice that team underneath a new name, the Colorado Rockies.
Well, boring game might be a bad word for that, but it was.
I know.
It was more. I'm staying here for the podcast for me to actually want to evaluate a team and actually talk about it. Was less willing to concentrate because it wasn't their team.
Yeah, the Tigers. There's nothing that can. The Tigers is like it's a waste of breath to really evaluate. Other than like, I do think Myers played like a decent game. Skillman was Skillman, and I don't mean that in a good or bad way, but we kind of know what Skillman brings to the table. But just like when they have a real game, then they had Dylan in there who was like super solid. So when they play real games, I think it's going to be high scoring because you're going to have the Matt Taylor show, but then suspect defense and maybe suspects goaltending. So, but you can't really take anything away from last night. I agree with Hedis and I disagree with Piercy. Like the Nordiques, I feel like that was a representation of what they were because you had Pete and Gio playing together and then Kimmel and Serta. So I know Serta's not on the team, but that's similar to kind of like an Andy Fem, and that's the structure of that team is what you're going to see. They have the similar format to what the North Stars are stuck in now. They got like Wright and Drago playing right wing, and then they have 4 forwards and they're going to play 2 of them at a time. Now the combinations might switch. But so my takeaways from the Nordiques, I wasn't impressed. And again, it's early and all the chemistry caveats, but Pete and Gio they didn't like kind of gel. Serta and Kimmel were the more effective ones. But they're not gonna. But Serta's not on the team, and their D-core. We talked about this a lot on the draft breakdown. Like when they drafted those 2 defensemen, Sukas and Dougie Fresh, they took who they wanted. But we thought that there were higher players available, like a Turnbull, who's been hurt. But so I think their forward lines didn't really mesh, and their D-core of like Sukas, Dougie, I know Gibb was in for Panny, and then Brennan. Like they're not bad. They're not bad, but they don't really add much. So I don't know. To me, after my preseason power rankings, I kind of have my top 4, and I feel like the Nordiques, North Stars, and Ducks are going to be the 3 kind of fighting to not be the team that misses the playoffs. So I wasn't very impressed with the Nordiques. Things can change, but I was not impressed.
Dave, how much of this game did you watch, and what did you think?
A little chunk of it, and I pretty much agree with Troy. The Nordiques are not too impressive or scary to me. I was with Pete and Andy Fem during the spring, and that combo didn't do much when I got traded to that team. Pretty much the moment I arrived, line 2 became line 1, and they didn't produce at all. So I wasn't really, no offense or anything, but they keep up with each other. It's fast, and it's like there's no real shots, no real threats come in. They're just kind of buzzing around the whole time they're on the ice, and then Andy Pham gets off in like 45 seconds, and Pete's out there for another minute by himself. So it's the coolest thing that happened all game was Koner's save on Proctor, stacking the pads, glove save. That's one of the best saves I ever seen in MNL, and that's just preseason. So
it was pure flash. It was like Mystery Alaska
so cool,
with the
man.
glove.
That was
Everybody by the glass, they started pounding and making noise for him. Everybody really appreciated that. It was fun.
cool.
I think Ben was on our team. I'm trying to think.
Yeah.
So he was subbing for the Tigers, and he was like skating back to the bench, for a line change, and then Cone made that save, and Ben was like, "Woo!" I could see like his face, like he was on the ice. So
We couldn't believe
that was
it on the
well. It's like
sideline.
it's one thing to throw up the double pad stick, you see that, but then for and let's be honest, I mean, a lot of it's just luck. It's like you throw that, and it's like you're hoping to make the save with some part of your body, but for it to magically to
He
go into the
gloves
glove,
it.
perfect
Cut it
windmill,
out.
blah blah blah. It was like it was pretty cool.
Yeah. It's
and you can't judge the Tigers because they're not.
Well, it's
even
hard,
there,
so hard to
it's,
say because the Tigers, they looked pretty good. Like the Proctor, Ben, Rubel, all them looked good, and you can say that Nordiques didn't. But if they're facing elevated competition, it can be hard to judge them. I said this before the week that I subbed for
but
them.
Proctor and
Ben.
Proctor and Ben are not some massive upgrade over Matt Taylor and Chris Taylor. I mean, you can
Sometimes the lines can fit different together, though.
I'm just saying it's not like some huge. Evaluating the Tigers is useless, but my Gio and Pete not having chemistry wasn't because they were going up against like Proctor and Ben too, because they're not ferocious defenders,
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, I mean Drager, he wasn't there last night. Even he's hurt, but I thought he said he was under the weather or something. I don't think those lines were constructed right. I think they want to do the Pete Kimmel line, and then kind of have the speed in another line. And me subbing 2-3 weeks ago, I thought the Diques actually performed better than my expectations were. Maybe it's because of how those lines were. Maybe they weren't. I mean, maybe it was bad competition. Who knows? I mean, we've seen 2 games against small sample sizes, but last night's performance definitely puts the alert in my head about watch out for this team being in trouble.
And that's kind of what I felt too, because the last game they played, I felt like they played with more jump, more chip. This game, that's why I said they kind of like in like 5th gear, 4th gear, either 6 gears. I felt like they played, they're competitive, but I don't know if everybody was like giving it their all 100%. So it'll be interesting to see how they show up opening night. And if they like turn into 6th gear, or maybe their 5th gear is just all they have in their car, and they don't have a lot of horsepower.
And I have to throw out the caveat that we have, like I've said this a million times, but people get sensitive. It's like, although I think I've been pretty harsh on my own fucking team, but it's like I've said this 8,000 times. When I say the Nordiques aren't that good, like there's no team this year that's going to be like as bad as the Americans were last year. It's like the Nordiques are still. When I say they might miss the play, they're still going to win plenty of games. Pete's going to score plenty of goals. Like they're still going to be. It's not like, oh, we're playing the Nordiques, it's a guaranteed win. No one's going to be that bad. The margins in this league are like razor thin. So I just wasn't super impressed with them, but they're going to be a good team, for sure.
Yeah, I do think there's a jump up in the competition last night. Let's do real quick. We will go. The North Stars are going to talk about the Diques. We'll talk about the Tigers. Kind of the one thing about that team from last night.
The one superlative. We have the Diques, correct?
Yes.
All right. The one superlative about the Diques. The one superlative about the Diques is will the second line score as many goals as the first line, right? Because the first and second line. So let's say they score 40 goals in a season. Will both those lines score 20 goals apiece? If one line is out there getting 25 goals and the other line gets 5 goals. Then that means that second line is being shut down by someone else, and you're not meeting that quota. So both those lines have to have similar numbers, and they have to be equal to other teams in the league, right? So if the average goal scoring in the league is maybe, let's say, 40 goals in the season, right? Not that that's going to be the number, but you want them to be around that 40-goal mark, and you want both those lines to be equal, because that's kind of what they're doing. They're kind of around the 1A and the 1B. The moment that one of those lines scores 20 goals, the other line scoring 5, and they're 15 goals underneath the league average, to me, in the superlative means that they're in last place. But if they're both like 20 and 20, and the league average like 40, they're going to be a championship squad.
Yeah. I think I'm going to say something similar, but there's not that many unknowns on the Nordiques. Like Cone's going to be Cohn's going to be solid. He's not going to be a weakness. He's not going to, like, single-handedly carry him to the keg.
Until it's the playoffs.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. I don't mean that in a bit, but that's like Cohn is a known commodity. He's just a solid, good goalie. Their defense, to me, there's no questions. Like, they're gonna be okay. Like, but there's no scenario where I can't say like the X factor is Sukas. Like, Sukas is gonna score 20 goals. Like, I know what you're gonna get out of Sukas. You know what you're gonna get about Doug. They're gonna be solid. So to me, and again, then they got the right wing lock. So to me, they win the keg if they can figure. It's all the top four, and they can figure out the right match. You know, they got to find which two play together. You know, they got to find the right combo. Like, so they got to get Pete and Kimmel working together, and Gio and Fem. And to Hedis's point, they got to get them both. They can't get one going. They need to get both of them cranking and find that chemistry. And if they do, they could be great. Or they could just be like four kind of odd-shaped pieces that just never really match, and they don't get anything going, which is what I saw last night.
Over to the Tigers, Dave P.
Again, this is hard to judge without being able to see him, you know. But I've been high on Matt Taylor since he came in the league. He pretty much scores goals at will, so we'll see what they could do with him over the season. I've even seen him score goals with like Hal's 90-year-old skates on or something.
Yeah, he came in the locker room. He's like, I don't have skates. And Hal hands him like grass from
like
1994
out the bottom, and I'm just like, he goes out there wheels and deals still. So I mean,
I knew that night. Like, because I saw him, I'm like, what the fuck? I saw that before anybody, until I even knew the Hale story. But I knew that night that, like, if this guy can put on somebody else's skates from 1974 and still, like, be sweet, like, this guy's just a fucking stud.
He's pretty unreal. So, I mean, is he going to carry the team straight to a cup? I haven't seen him in action since meeting him and everything. So, you know.
Not to step on your toes, but my superlative for the Tigers is if Riley can keep their goals against average under 2.5 throughout the season, they will be a championship team. If it's over 2.5, they will be the last place team.
Yeah, what's Riley going to do too? It's like the yin and yang there for the goalie and the goal scorer.
Yeah, a big thing for me is the defense. I think Ryan Allen's a key factor there. I actually think he should move up to forward. If not, I think he does have to work on his awareness. I think there's a lot of times, like last night, he doesn't actually look who's in front of him. He plays everybody equally the same. You could say that's good or bad, but I think sometimes when there's a speedster like a Judge or a Suits, he can get himself into a lot of trouble where if he just took 2 steps back, he could keep the guy in front of him, help it out. So I think he needs to work on that defensive awareness, or I think he's a pretty good forward, you know, considering those late rounds. I think he's a quality guy back there. That's still my preferred spot for him, but I don't know what their lineup, if they're able to actually move him up.
I think that would entail putting I think they want to play Taylor and Taylor together, but I think it's similar like the Ty experiment to a lesser, you know. Ryan Allen's a better defenseman than Ty, but it's a similar thing. Like they might have to move Ryan Allen up and then Chris Taylor back. One thing on the Tigers, we talk about Pellet, you know, old man Ite. The giant wild card in this whole thing is Slocum. Not only did he not play a preseason game, he was added to the league having no evaluation skates, no preseason. You know, he played on that weird WBW Wednesday night team, so it's like Whoop and McShannock, I think, are the only people that have seen him skate. So that's a wild. Like, if he comes out and he's just like gangbusters, it's like, holy fuck, they got, you know, they have Matt Taylor plus this guy. Like, they could be sweet. You know, but if he comes out and he's just kind of average, then that's going to hurt. I don't think that where they got him in the third, like, I don't think there's based on everything that I've heard, I don't think there's a scenario where he's, like, horrible.
I thought they got him in the second and Chris Taylor in the third. Was a flip-flop? It's flip-flops with Chris Taylor.
I mean,
they're
very close picks. I mean, it was like 13 and 16, so it's very close. But anyways, who knows what the Slocum guy brings? So that's a giant X factor.
I keep forgetting about him because we haven't seen him. He didn't even participate in any of those other skates. So yeah, that's a tough thing.
So Slocum and Riley, you know, to me, it's like, you know, and because the thing is, Riley gets no respect, you know, and he's not horrible, you know, it's not like he's like, you know, Maki and Ned or, you know, it's like he can be very, you know, good. So it's like there's a scenario, and confidence is a wonderful thing too.
Serviceable.
It's like
he backstopped the Seals to the championship finals against the Americans 2 seasons ago, right? Yeah. So like he has the skill and the ability. It's whether he's consistent showing up and playing, whether he's, you know, like whether he wants to be consistent and he's feeling hockey and he wants to be in it. But I mean, I haven't I know for a fact I haven't seen Riley. I haven't seen Riley skate or participated in him in skate, and he's told me he hasn't been in a skate in like 3.5 months. He just told me this week, he's like, hey, I'm going to jump into skate this week. I'm going to find out when the next game is. I'm like, well, you don't play the first week, bud. You probably should look out the schedule. I'm trying to give him a little push, right? The old, like, push the bird out of the thing. Like, check your schedule. Like, if you want to be, like, more involved in the league, like, just run it. So he's gonna get in some skates, get the rust off.
And so he might come out a little rusty, but he's in good shape. So it's not like he's going to come
massive
in.
shape.
Yeah, he's not going to come in out of shape.
320 squats.
Yeah. And there's something, too, about, especially from the goalie position. I don't know how, I mean, he's younger than me, but there's that trade-off because he's going to be rusty, but at the same token, his body's going to feel rested and healthy. Because I remember when I was playing 2-3 days a week as goalie, and I'm old and whatever, but it's like it takes its toll on you physically, your knees, your back. So he'll come in fresh, and then he might take him a few games to get up to speed, but it'll be interesting.
Yeah. Also, shout out to Chris and Uncle Fister. They showed up last night for the Seals.
MVPs.
They were in attendance. I was chatting with both of them for a while. Super nice guys as of right there. Always like to see that participation. And Dylan coming in subbing. He brought in, what was it, Kettle One, or he brought a half gallon or
He
like
brought
vodka,
that was from McShannock's from like the week prior. He snagged the vodka, brought it back. I was like, Dylan, my guy.
Lock up your
Guy
cabinets when you
parties.
invite Dylan over. But anyway, Fister definitely. I noticed that, and then I was scared. I think it was during the second game. Maybe it was the first game, but I'm like, I look over, I'm like, that's Fister. I'm like, oh, he's probably playing the next game or blah, blah, blah. I'm like, wait a second. Like, the Seals don't fucking play tonight. He's not subbing. And Fister's here and his fucking uncle. I'm like, these fuckers are, crazy, but fucking awesome at the same time.
what the
Like,
league
they're definitely MVP.
Monday Night Lights is welcome. Okay,
Yeah.
you guys are welcome.
He gets it. The funniest thing of talking to him, though, he's like, yeah, I was in the Seals room, and I was like, anybody coming up there? And Whoop's like, oh, I'll be up there. Yeah, I'll see you up there. And we're just like, oh, yeah, that's your first time with that. Get used to it.
Yeah.
We do you want to move on to another topic? I thought that that Mr. D Slackerone here in Twitch brought up a good topic. That who is like your preseason MVP so far?
Oh,
Just one name, real quick, like around the horn, 30 seconds. Name somebody. You want me to go first?
I'm going with Mr. Fister. He showed up to every preseason. Not Chris Fister. I'm going Mr. Fister.
That's even better.
Twisted Fister. You got all sorts of nickname possibilities.
Uncle
Yeah,
Fister. I'm going Uncle Fister. He showed up to every game so far. He's not in the league. Chris wasn't playing on Monday, and he's still showing up. He's my preseason MVP.
Hard to argue with that. Hedis, you go next. I'm still thinking.
I guess my MVP for preseason has got to be AKA the Peso himself. So he snipped me. He provides some goals. He's playing with a chip on his shoulder. He's checking people in a non-check league. I mean, he can be divisive. I like Peso. I like that. I hate when he chirps and I chirp back at him. So I mean, he gets me going. So that's kind of funny as a person. So Peso so far preseason, he's kind of lived up to his billing. Peso for me is my MVP.
You got one?
Yeah, I'm gonna go Claus. I'm sticking with the Whalers. I mean, I have to. Claus he's had let 1 week goal. 1 week goal out of like 70 shots. So
when
go
you're
with
the
that.
best, you're the best. There's not much we
high
can do
level
over
saves,
here.
A lot of breakaways.
The
stuff.
Americans beg to differ.
Yeah. I'm going to go with, I was just racking my brain, like who's really been, who's played a lot, who's been productive. And I'm going with Rubel. Because Rubel, I think he's probably played the most minutes out of everybody because he plays he showed up for both of his team's games. Then he subs all the fucking time, and he's been this reminder. It's like Ty and I were considering taking Rubel, not strongly, but I was considering taking him in the second round because I was like that high on Rubel. So and then he's available to me in the fourth round, just calling my name. And I take my buddy Graham, who I'm not giving up on for all the things that we talked about.
Wait,
but it's
you
like
took Graham over Rubel?
in the fourth. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. And and trust me, there's some as competitive I am. There's some consider Graham's my buddy. I see him 3 days a week. He's standing right next to me at the draft. And so I didn't have the heart to
Big
pass
old
over
puppy
him.
dog eyes.
Yeah. And again,
the Grinch stole Christmas. All of a sudden, you see Troy's heart turn into the heart.
Yep. But I'm like, but Rubel, it's like if you would have told me before the draft that I would have the opportunity to take Rubel in the fourth round and I would pass on him, I would have been like, fuck you, I'll bet any amount of money. So, but somehow that scenario played out. So, but Rubel has been, has been great.
Next thing on my board is
One quick comment before we go.
Sure.
Sorry, and I know everyone is annoyed with it, but with my Mr. Graham, since I kind of said something bad about Mr. Graham, there was one little sneak peek, and Dave P noticed it. This is my hope for Mr. Graham now that he's transitioning to his natural position at defense. Captain Jack Serta came in, with kind of a Dave P, excitement, oh, boo, 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 boo. And Graham, after, again, kind of letting Sugar beat him up the previous week, I'm like, come on, Graham, you're fucking 6'5". I mean, Graham is a fucking beast. And there's not many. Now with the mountain gone, I'm going off the top of my head. I don't know if there's many guys in the league that could fuck with Graham. Maybe I can't think of anyone, to be candid with you. But yeah, besides Dave P.
McCracken, if he's in the game.
Yeah,
but
I'd take Graham.
Yeah, I'd take Graham over McCracken.
He's a big fucker. But so, anyways, Serta came in on him with kind of speed, and he was going to duke around, and like Graham just kind of fucking stood him up, took one little paw, and just like, and so that
sounds like a penalty.
Could be.
Sounds like a penalty.
But my point is now I'm gonna pump Graham's tire. I want him to be the big kind of enforcer, kind of lockdown D man, and that's what we
I mean, he's a natural defenseman, so it's a good to plug him in where you fit right. You don't want to put a circle block in a round square hole.
And Rubel does not have that physical attribute. But anyways, let's move on. This is not North Stars tonight. I had to give Graham a compliment though because I kind of pooped on him a little.
Hey, I have nothing against Graham, good guy, but he's no Rubel. 4th round, bad. The pick is what it is. I understand the heart of gold over there, but let's move on. Been a lot of trash talking in Slack lately about this whole Sips versus Hedis stuff going on.
Let's go. Big dick energy. Big dick energy. Let's go.
Mr. Sips sounds like he wants to bet that he will score on you this season.
Correct. And I clarified it. So you can't it can't be one of those goals where Pete or shoots it off of someone else's shin pad in the net, right? I mean,
a goal is a goal.
A goal is a
Yeah,
goal.
goal
Yeah,
is a
come on, that's not a legitimate effort. So someone
It's got to be a snipe
Hedis-
show.
it's got to be him actually shooting the puck, or like he gets a stick on it, right?
No.
It can't be just him off of his chest or helmet in the net.
No. It's like how many shitty goals are there in the NHL that
60% of them are shitty goals.
Exactly. So a goal is a goal, so you can't. I understand but this isn't like if you want to do a shootout contest where everything's pure, you can do that. But it's a fair bet. We've gone through the schedule. The most you're going to play the Americans is 3 games, maybe 4. And so if he gets a lucky one, he gets a lucky one. And kind of to his point, it's like, well, what if he gets some fluke goal taken away? A goal is a goal, and I want my goalie to have the confidence. If he doesn't want to take the bet, I will take the
I'm going to 100% take the bet either way.
I will back him. But we have to. But this is serious. You can't be loosey. We need to set parameters. It has to be regular season because the playoffs a whole different story. So just regular season. D-Sips has to score a goal of any variety. That's the bet.
I would.
That's like a handicap.
I would throw this out here.
And we all know Sips isn't going to show up for half the game.
Rebound, we're saying?
No, any goal.
Yeah,
I'm saying Hedis is
Yeah.
dead wrong with his trying to put condition.
Good,
then we're going to be was it a real goal or
Okay.
no?
My only
goal
goal
is a fucking goal.
my condition was just you can't kick the puck in the net or he's for example, you shoot from the point and it hits off his helmet, goes in the net. Congrats, you happened to hit off your helmet, you were in the right spot.
You're wrong on this one, Hedis. Because like Slack said, everyone that bet on Michigan, and I'm a fucking Spartan. The ball is. I mean, that's about a fucking fluke. It's
Right, it
they still paid out all their bets. So it's maybe you don't have a betting background, but it's luck is luck.
I have a
bullshit
betting
is
background.
bullshit.
I understand that. But
And we're gonna win the bet.
If Sips is subbing and scores, does that count?
Nope.
I can't.
Nope.
I just wanted to throw it out there for
It has to be an
clarification.
that's a
American.
good clarification. That's a good catch.
Nope. It
job,
has to be an Americans game, and any type of goal is a goal.
So
That's the bet.
I like this. What are the Nordiques putting on the line here?
It's the Americans, isn't it?
Or
And
I'm sorry,
that's him.
North Stars putting on the what's the
What am I
proposed?
putting on
What
the
is
line?
this proposed bet?
I don't know.
That's a Hedis
we can
versus
do
D-Slag.
a vegan steak, whatever alien dinner he wants to do. I don't know what he's into nowadays. Soup? Oh, it's soup. Soup. Sorry, it's soup. We can do a
think
can of Campbell's versus
If Hedis wins,
Soup is not a
Panera
meal.
bread.
Soup is not a
Going
meal.
over to Panera.
if Hedis wins, he gets a steak at Ruth Chris. If Sips wins, he gets fucking chicken noodle soup, and everybody's happy. There you go. But seriously, the stakes, no pun intended, the stakes can be negotiated between D. Saclaroni and Hedis, but the terms of the bet have been
I like the new
agreed
Sips
to.
talking shit to everybody. That's
Yeah.
pretty.
I don't know
Change
where
his
this
diet. He's all fired
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
I'm
He's
with it, man. I think that's cool as hell. Keep it up, Sips.
I think Sips got a little hurt when all of a sudden he was at the end of the 8th round this year, where he was kind of in that mid, like,
Yeah, fifth,
early
sixth,
7,
seventh.
6, stuff like that. And all of a sudden stuff comes out and he's like, wait a second, like, Piercy's going ahead of me, Brennan's going ahead of me, Mask, all these like guys that it wasn't even just the new guys. It was
Yeah.
all these other guys that have been in the league solid that are now going ahead of him. I think he's like, it's time for the comeback tour. Like, let's fucking go Rocky style and go back into, let's climb some Russian mountains, baby, and get back to where we need to go.
Yeah. One other little tidbit on this bet that's going to be interesting because, Proctor, he's everybody's favorite and he's a fun guy. So we all know that the real Americans are going to have like the second line of Sips, Wood, and somebody. But, if it gets to that final game against, then they'll probably just roll that. But if it gets to the final Americans North Star game and Sips hasn't fucking played yet, it's going to be Proctor, Antioch, Sips.
Yeah.
Star on D and Edge. And it's like, get the puck to fire. Sips, just don't skate. Go to the front of the net. I'll shoot it off your ass and score. And then Ed is going to be like, motherfucker.
Final
So it'll be
score is going to be
interesting.
like 8-0 Americans, but Sips won't score.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
No, it's not going to happen.
But that's a bet. I like it.
I like it too.
Hedis wants to bet. It sounds like Sips has actually proposed the bet. Let's in Slack the next couple of days. Let's lock down what that bet's officially going to be. Do we have a text coming in from Sips to you or a direct message?
No, he hasn't responded in our Twitch, and I haven't seen anything in our Slack. So we'll work it over the next couple of days and we'll figure it out. I'm sure it'll be spicy and fun. So
that's a shame. Quick last thing, non-topic topic of the week. I'm sure we all saw Andrew Luck retire. The Colts give him $24 million not to give back, but the Detroit Lions make Calvin Johnson give back, $2 million? How bad does that make the Lions look as like a second-class organization?
I missed that. So you're saying, I thought we were going to talk about whether it's a millennial being a pussy or the decision, because that's been the talking point. So this is breaking news to me. So he retired, and the Colts owed him $24 million, or is it part of the signing bonus that they already paid him and they're not making
He
him?
would essentially have to give back $24 million. Jim Irsay, the Colts owner, said, you can have it. But when Calvin Johnson retired, the Lions were like, give us back that $2 million. How petty does that make the Lions look?
Yeah, I mean, I think that for Irsay, I think that's fucking. Well, he's probably just got $1 billion because that's super generous, especially because it's not like Calvin Johnson dedicated, many more years in his entire body to the Lions. So that's just super tacky on the Lions' part and, really generous on Irsay's part, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's some cap ramifications, but like for the Lions, $2 million. Now,
Okay.
Calvin Johnson doesn't really want anything to do with the team when he should be like a legend coming to games. Like, it's kind of like one of those things of like, we'll let you keep it. Like, come do some appearances for us. Like, handshake. It's
$2 million
good,
to the Fords is like me, not hounding Dave P for the $40 he stiffed me for the MNL skill skate.
big oof.
So it's about the same, but the same equivalent,
Hey, Dave P's good for that money, man.
It'll come back. I'll throw
I
an
will
extra
say
10 on there.
I will say, just because I took a little shot at Dave P. But for Dave P is a notorious slow payer, but he has always paid his debts. I will say that.
He's a Lannister.
over.
He's a Lannister, right?
Yes, he
little
pays
juice on
interest.
there.
He does pay interest. I got you 18 months later, but here's an extra $5.
It looks like in the Slack chat, or not Slack chat, Twitch chat, looks like Sips says he's in. But I'm not seeing in actual terms. Maybe that'll be figured out along
They got to
the line.
decide if they're going to do money or if they're going to do something goofy,
Yeah,
like,
we could do
when the
money or
when the mayors
food.
of the town for the Super Bowl do some bullshit bet. It could be either. So it'll be something fun. I'm sure it'll be
Yeah,
cool.
I don't know. Sips shaves his head or something, and I don't know. Yeah, whatever. I don't know. Something weird. We'll figure it out. I also heard, not to change topics again, because I'm not like the main the main host here.
Moderator.
Moderator, excuse me. That's the correct terms. But has anyone heard? As I heard, there's rumors that there might be a Monday Night Lights Fantasy Hockey League starting up here this year. So I don't know if any of you guys heard about that.
Are you talking about like a
Fantasy, as in like like on ESPN, like NHL draft players. I have like Austin Matthews and et cetera, and then but like people playing against each other in the league, like fantasy.
Oh,
hockey.
that'd be. I mean, I think didn't Brennan's tried to
Yeah.
set it up over the years, or maybe he even did one year.
he
I think
did
there
one
was.
year.
I think there was a year. So it would be. I've never have. I don't know if they've made some advances to fantasy hockey. The problem that I had with it was just like any fantasy that you have to like change your lineup daily is just like over the course of a whole season just is too much, you know. But if it's like set your lineup once a week, that'd be fun.
You can do it once a week, but I mean, if injuries or something occur, then it turns into a daily thing. But you can set the week prior.
Yeah, I would assume with 77 guys, we have enough guys where we could get at least one league together.
Yeah, 12 teams.
I'm not necessarily an NHL fantasy hockey kind of guy, but I don't know. Maybe
That's surprising.
reach out to Hedis. Maybe he can start it up and get it going. I don't know. I mean, starting up leagues like that are pretty darn easy, and they run themselves once you're on a website.
Half of Monday Night Lights are in one. I know like Drager's wife, Jay Flo, and me and Brennan are already in one already, and they're talking about not keeping that league. So maybe we just like fold that into Monday Night Lights.
This fantasy and betting has kind of segued. Did you ever volunteer to run the, you know, since we're on the eve of the season, are you going to run the MNL prediction? OFP will put up the prize.
That's already on my list to talk about.
Okay. Well,
Let's roll into it, baby. Hit us with it.
So this will be our last subject on the night. Is we are having a prop bet / pick'em contest. I'm hoping to get it out before we actually do our podcast next week. We'll be doing a podcast where we go over all these prop bets. We'll select winners on that, and hopefully, it wasn't fully confirmed. Ben, let me know. We're hoping to have Dickie Dunn himself in studio because a lot of these will be based off the Dickie Dunn Awards, and then every week we would also be doing a pick'em based on the winner of every game. The way that we're going to do this is instead of doing the announcements, doing the little emojis, we're actually going to have them emailed in so we have records and you don't have to count them up before the game and worry about people switching them.
And you're running that?
I'll be running that. We'll
Beautiful.
be sending out an announcement in probably a blog about the details on that. Essentially, it'll be a list of all your bets. You pick people up there. You email them in before the start of the season, and then you'll have your weekly email that you have to send in for those pick'ems. OFP will be sponsoring this event, where the winner, I believe, will be getting a pair of tickets to a Red Wings game.
I'll do something cool, that could be the prize. I reserve the right to make it. You know, it will be a nice. It'll be something. But I want to make clear that the sponsorship, you know, is only for the prediction, like the props. I like the props and blah blah blah. But I'm donating a prize to the season-long pick'em winner.
Well, they're all combined for points-wise, so that's actually kind of the nice thing about that is, at least in my opinion, is you do the pick'em, but you're never fully out of the contest because you have those props at the end of the year based on the awards.
I don't even
so we're
understand
mixing
how how do you roll that in?
competitions?
They're all just every prop bet's worth a point. Every
Yeah,
pick'em's
okay.
worth a
Every
point.
pick'em's worth a point.
So how many prop bets do you have?
That's actually kind of stupid, though, Piercy. You should
Yeah,
fix that.
I think the prop bets should be prop bets because those are
Yeah,
just
I
kind
think
of
so,
fun
too.
and silly and whatever. But there is some value and expertise in picking the games.
If you want to prop bet on me and Sips, you can prop bet on me and Sips, baby. You want to prop bet
Piercy likes
on
the
Ben scoring
comeback
10
story,
goals?
though.
Then-
At
I
the
know.
end, you can come back.
Yeah,
you know, by
that's
week
true.
5, I'm not screwed because Sugar picked everything
Yeah.
flawlessly.
yeah,
The way that I figure with doing the prop bets on the Dickie Dunn Awards is that you're never out of it compared to, you know, I think the one year we did it, there was like 4 guys and I was one of them that were like the only ones left. And it's just like, if anybody else, it's like, why do I care about this?
That's true. We can do, you know, this might be a Ty Otto MNL temperature poll. You know, for Ty Otto is a horrible player, but his temperature polls I find amusing.
Spot on, yeah.
Yeah, fantastic league.
So maybe I don't know. I don't think Ty's a podcast listener, but maybe we can have him do a temperature poll. Do you want the prop bet Dickie Dunn's combined with the season long pick'em, or keep them separate?
Either way, the contest has not been officially announced. Still ironing out the details, ironing out all potential prop bets. We'll figure it out. You know, we're evolving. You know, we had Math suggest taking off the turn the radio up off the theme song, which we tried this week. You know, again, Troy, he said he missed it. A lot of us old men miss it because
I mean, Math is right. Like it definitely wasn't like a smooth transition from the turn the radio up to the new you know, it's like kind of a chop. So from an artistic point of view, I get it. But I was one of the old guys that I always liked. I liked the turn the radio up. But anyway, but as the pod in the stupid MNL song, it's like, you know, just like someone says, it's like a fungus that grows on you. It's like it comes on and, you know, we're sitting here dancing on the whoop line.
Is there an over under on whether that's gonna be played on opening night to open up before the national anthem, or?
I don't know. It's got to be played at some point. Probably not
we
with
have
the
to play
anthem, but maybe in warm-ups or something like that.
Crunk's in on the fantasy league.
and if you
By the way.
if you do want to hear that catchy song, you know, go to our YouTube page, youtube.mnlhl.com. It's our #1 video on our site right now, sweeping the nation. I think we've hit all all 50 states by now. But yeah, I think we'll get the rules out there hopefully midweek or this weekend, and then like I said, next week I think the plan is to go through all those prop bets, the three of us, hopefully plus Dicky involved as well for that podcast. I think it'll be a fun thing. Kind of our final predictions are going to be involved in that with like first place, last place, who's going to win the keg, who's going to miss the playoffs, trades, everything like that. So I think it's going to be a good time on that. It'll probably be one of the more interesting podcasts we have, and then we'll swing into the season full gear.
Sounds good.
When does the first trade come?
Ooh, that should be
Question of the
that
night.
should be saved. See, that should be saved for
Question
the
of the
Dicky,
bet.
the prop
Prop
bet,
bet.
the Dicky Dunn prop bet, and then you got to bring in Brennan here, obviously, because he's our Canadian Vegas line he lays out. So I mean, those two will be able to hash it out with Piercy pretty well.
Yeah. Hey, and we got college football coming this weekend, Labor Day. We're off on Monday, but everyone enjoy the holiday and be safe.
Oh yeah, does state play? I'm assuming state plays. I don't know who they
State's got
play.
the Friday night. They always play the Friday night. They play Tulsa, so it should be a nice W. And then I think Michigan's got Middle Tennessee State Tech something.
I think Western plays Saturday night as well.
Saddle up.
So hopefully it'll be a good time. But besides that, remember, I don't know what that noise was, but remember, give us a call on the Whoop line, 714-75-WHOOP. Email the show, podcast at MNLHL.
It's the
.com.
Whoop line.
Wow.
But
All right.
yeah. Anyways, we are over.
See you in 2 weeks.